live verify on the YouTube side, and once YouTube indicates we're live, we will talk to the people. It worked. All right, we have a scheduled stream. We are live, and for anybody watching right now in real time, welcome to my Monday show. You know, it's like week 7 or something like that. I've been doing this for like about like over a month now, and for anybody watching on the replay, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button if you like what you see, and all of that jazz. Today's guest of honor is Pacific 414, which, you know, it's our friend Mike from Pacific 414. He has a weekly show on Mondays. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing well, DJ. I hope you are.
Yeah, man, I'm doing really well. You know, today we're just going to kind of cover all kinds of ground, you know, and if we run out of steam, then I'll just show off my mecha collection. In fact, I have a cool surprise from Gundam 0083, you know, the one, you know, you familiar with that particular Gundam series?
No, I'm not.
Memory. Really? Oh my God. Oh shit. You know what? We're going to just start with that right now. We're going to hit the ground running right here. All right.
All right.
I mean, like, we're not going to go into excruciating detail, but you know, the original Gundam series, how they got the Pegasus class ship, you know, with Noah Bright. So Gundam 0083 takes place, it's basically like a prequel to Zeta Gundam, and it takes place 3 years after the 1 Year War. And in Gundam 0083, they have a ship called the Albion. I mean, it says it on the box. And it's just basically, it's the white base class, it's the Pegasus class, or same class of ship as the white base, but looks so cool. I mean, it looks cooler, it just looks nicer. I mean, you know the white base is kind of blocky and stuff, and it's got like these big circular or cylindrical engine pods. And so I picked this one up like on, where did I get this? I think I got it on, I got it on Amazon, and it was like fucking $65. What up, Real Wade Gaming Nation? We got Real Wade Nation gaming clips in the chat, and you know, he's pretty popular, so I'm glad to have him here today. It's an honor. We got
Good to see you, Wade.
Word, and he's one of your semi-regular viewers too, right? Word. So we're in good company today. Cool. He's got a quality channel. Oh yeah, so this is why. Oh yeah, so I'll get to the other topic in a moment. So actually, I'm gonna jump ship a little bit. So jump ship. It's kind of funny. I'm holding a ship in my hand. I'm gonna jump ship. So yesterday night, I you know, installed Stream Elements, and it was like basically it offered to install OBS again, and I was like, nah, just install the add-on, and that worked. Like I opened up OBS, and a little bit like flustered because I opened up OBS. And my buttons are a little bit differently colored, and there's some extra panels that I kind of understood this would be part of the thing, but I was like realizing, shit, I now have to set up and, you know, sit down and set up like those, you know, commands, or have it automatically spit out channel names, because like what I want ultimately, the rationale behind installing Stream Elements, which I believe you're using something similar on your channel.
Yeah, I've been using Stream Elements, and I've also used Nightbot.
Yep. So basically, like, and you know what? Let me just play around just a little bit. I'm gonna shuffle the viewports around a little bit. And so, Nightbot, that's interesting. I seen you use Nightbot. I'm not terribly familiar with it, but like I know that I need something because I can't like be a one-man team posting links, and I have good friends in the moderated team. I have like 2 moderators, I think. And one of them's a young guy from India who is like always on a phone, so he's not trying to post links, which is fine, whatever, you know, at least I know I have that expectation. And I'm just, right now, I'm just trying to drag myself horizontally so that I'll be to the right of this box. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. But
Okay.
that's why I'm so distracted. Like I'm literally messing around. So like basically just like getting something like Stream Elements bot working would like, you know, be progress towards me not stretching my mental resources, you know, and I see the way you have it set up. And so, as I understand it, you just, how do you, while I try to figure out how to move my camera around, tell me how you utilize the Stream Elements bot.
The way I utilize the Stream Elements bot is I go into the commands and timers option, and that's where I'll put the link for, you know, my co-host, or, you know, guest, whether it be, you know, Baron, you know, if you're a guest on Pop Talk at any time, I'll make sure to put your link on there, and I'll make sure to have the timer running where every, maybe 10 minutes, your link pops up in the chat. So it gives folks an opportunity to subscribe to your channel. And if you have more than one channel and your, social media links, I'll do my best to try to put those links in there too. So when it comes up on the timer, again, people can follow you wherever you're streaming at, or follow you on Twitter and find out what's going on your channel.
Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward, because that's kind of like, all of that, like I see how it's implemented on yours and Brian of the Nerdporial Lifeform channel, and just the idea of having this thing semi-automated where, like, I don't have to, like, go jockeying for links, which, I mean, I moderate on 1 or 2 other channels, including yours, and so I try to, like, build out a list in a notepad file or a Google Keep file that I can kind of, like, just pull links from in order to reference links. And maybe I haven't really been that good at posting as many links on your channel, but, like, on Saturdays on Snowdub channel, I thought that I got banned for spamming links, because I recently got shadow banned on Snowdub because it's like a glitch or something. I got to figure it out. It's not, nobody banned me. It's just, one of these things that happens in the, ether of YouTube. But, like, so, like, I go crazy with the links on some channels, and, ideally, what I would do is, like, Real Weight Nation, I would go click on his thing, like, right, but now what I'm doing, and I would just copy his link and say, go check out Real Weight Nation gaming clips. But obviously that takes, like, brain power to be like, go check out real. In fact, I could do, like, I'm literally doing it right now. I'm doing, like, that. And then I can do that, but obviously that can get tedious and time consuming. So I definitely want to implement. So what happened was I installed this freaking thing. I installed the Stream Elements bot, and then I'm in my OBS window. I have all this extra shit in my OBS window. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, I know this is like something I should have prepared for, but you know what? It's fine. And I schedule, but this is where things went funny. I pre-scheduled my stream in Restream, which is similar to, StreamYard. And then when I opened up OBS like 10 minutes ago, it's saying, like, give me some weird error message, like, can't talk to Restream or some shit. So I'm like, ah, fuck. And even last night, I install Stream Elements, and I go, clearly I need to maybe, uninstall this, just like, until I'm ready to sit down on my day off, like on Wednesday. And there wasn't like a clear set of instructions for uninstalling it. It was like some vague instructions, like go to your OBS folder and, remove the plugin. And it's like, okay, I kind of understand that, but I mean, this is like made for people who I would assume aren't as much of a nerd as me, as Barron says, nerds, and I got to get him as a guest next. Well, not next, but at some point I definitely got to get him as a guest. He'd be a good guest.
Yeah,
but anyway,
he'd be a real good guest.
Yeah. And in fact, he'd be good for like a group stream. In fact, what I would do is, in an ideal scenario, I'd get Baron, Cash Money, and maybe Nerdporial if he's available on a Monday night, because I know he works for a living and stuff, but like, I think he works at office job, but like, because those are the people that were there when I popped my streaming cherry. It's a fact. When Brian Nerdporial Lifeform did a stream about Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, those are the people there. First time I met Cash, first time I met Baron, ouch. Hit my camera, and it's gonna sound kind of funny, but at first glance, Baron reminded me of the man who owned the Comic Attitudes in my town. In fact, Staten Island, you're familiar with the town, so he reminded me of the guy who owned Comic Attitudes back in like 1998. Just vague, like superficially, guy with beard, white guy with beard, not like an excruciating detail. And then plus being just knowledgeable on the comics and stuff like that. So I was like, oh man, it's like a cool fucking crowd right here, just like cool to meet people like this and stuff. So anyway, yeah, I installed a Stream Elements thing, and I'm thinking, okay, I got to get rid of this thing, or at least temporarily. I just want to remove it, get back to my baseline like I have over here. And so before the stream, like I did go into the plugins folder, and that actually works. You go to your C drive, and you can type Windows key R, and literally just type in the folder name C program files, and you go into this OBS folder. And what I ended up doing was taking like some of this, not even all of it. I just took a couple of Stream Elements things that were listed here, and I just copied them into another folder, like where it wouldn't read it as a plugin. That seemed to be sufficient to like solve the issue I was having. But I was surprised because, like, when you install an application, one way to uninstall apps is like go and take the file that you originally downloaded to install it, which is what we're looking at here, And usually if it detects that you already have the app, it'll be like, hey, you already have this. Would you like to remove it? So that did not happen. So my word of advice for anybody watching now, if you use Stream Elements or if you decide to use it, be ready to use it. Don't just do it on like a Sunday night before work when you know you got a 12-hour shift like I do. And because you're not going to be able to back out of it as easily. Like I got lucky in the past 10 minutes. So that's something I learned. But I look forward to being able to utilize it like a lot of you more experienced streaming people do.
Well, I mean, I would never consider myself experienced because even though I've been doing live streams for the last 4 years, there are things I've run into that I've had to figure out, whether it be by watching a video or figure it out on my own.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I do like that's one thing. Even like when you're not doing streaming or YouTube, like YouTube is just a generally good resource. I have a friend, he's an accountant. He needs to clean his barbecue. He goes on YouTube, and there's some guy like in his backyard, like how to correctly scrub the grill or some shit like that. And then when you're streaming, obviously the people who are already streaming are gonna be pretty well, poised to give advice. And that's like a lot of that's what got me started, like, or at least made it easy, like reduced the barrier of entry. The very platform that I'm on, I'm able to like look shit up and get answers, and some of you guys, you make it look easy, like you do your thing, I think, you're doing it right. You learn lessons once in a while, but overall, I don't think it's a big, like, I don't think you've ever really encountered any real, like, issues that were observable from the outside world. I know once in a while you might get, like, maybe a person gets a little unhinged. Maybe somebody talks a lot, maybe like, they talk about Argentina. Missed that guy. Hope he comes by soon. Oh, we got cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen Zoltan in a long while.
And like, I'm curious to see what his thoughts are about the new president in his country. And real quick, I want to give a shout out to Zombie Box Reviews and QEPX. It's good to see you, QEPX. I know I still got to play some, he wants me to play Roblox, and I promised him I will. I want to play some Space Engineers, but Roblox, I want to drive a car off a ramp and then maybe get more experience there, but I know jack shit. But Zombie Box Reviews, that's a big ticket name right there. I'm actually honored to have ZBR here tonight. So that's pretty cool. So where was I?
You never know who's watching your streams.
That's true too. I remember PJ from Orville Nation, I was like saying something along those lines, and he was saying exactly that. He was like, oh, you'd be surprised who's watching my stream. So apparently there's some people maybe in the shadows who like are either famous, influential, or otherwise people who work on the production of Orville or Star Trek or something in between. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, if I was like a semi big ticket name, I probably wouldn't, announce my presence in the chat either, So that's kind of interesting. Like you said, you don't never know who's watching, and that's why at the beginning of the stream I said none of those usual, profanity tirades that we usually engage in. No, I'm kidding. We don't do that. But jokes aside, yeah, like, you never know. Like, so the other day I was watching a clip, and the like news lady from New York Channel 4, like they're showing the city skyline. They're playing the NBC song, and she says to the camera guy or some guy on the studio floor, goes, "The fuck you doing?" And it was like, while the music is playing, like it's all formal and like, like hoity-toity and shit, and she's just like saying, "What the fuck are you doing?" But luckily that's one thing I like about doing this is like, no fucks given. I mean, like, obviously there's some boundaries, but in general, like you and I, like, there's things I do on my channel that like last week I was like, I had Punk Waddle on, and I'm like, I'm opening up videos, and I'm like, I would never open this on your channel, but I'm going to take a chance on my channel, with copyright claims and stuff like that. But I've gotten pretty lucky. One thing I learned as a side note, and we got Slim Nim here. Slim Nim's, I don't know if are you familiar with Slim Nim's channel at all?
No, this is the first time I've seen him.
Oh, he's a pretty nice dude. He's cool, and he usually plays these very peaceful games. Some of these games, like like he was playing this game where like you are a bucket, and I'm not gonna do justice to describing the game, but if you remember the name of that game, Slim, drop it in the chat. I mean, like, check it out on Steam or something. But you're literally a bucket. It's sort of like, to me, the game has like Office Space vibes, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
And you're a bucket in an Office Space environment. And then he was playing this other game where like you got a bunch of rubber duckies, and if you drop by his channel while he's playing that game, he'll name a ducky after you or your channel. So free publicity right there.
True.
Yeah,
Take it when you can get it.
Hell yeah, So getting back to the ship here, pardon the mess on my desk. So yeah, same ship as White Base from Gundam, the original Gundam series, except of a cooler design. And as you could obviously see, it's not even painted. Like, it's like just all white. But we did some cool stuff. So this was supposed to be yellow. I painted it in golden, like gold metallic paint because I just felt that was cooler. Only issue is this rocks a little bit, but I mean, once I'm done, I can just glue that down and, tack it down. In Gundam 0083, this part of the ship here actually pops out because even though these are thermonuclear jet engines or rocket jet engines, both jet rocket engines, this part actually folds out. You can almost see like evidence of like a mechanism that folds out because this actually becomes a sail. So it comes out like a parachute or an umbrella. And then the idea is that on the Lunar City Von Braun, they have like a system of lasers that shoot the back of that umbrella to allow the ship to kind of like get escape velocity without launching. But yeah, I just wanted to share this because like it's just like the original Gundam, but better. I mean, no offense, but it is a nicer version of the ship from the original Gundam. So far, we got the machine gray colors. This yellow is imperfect. I might buy a second one after the holidays just to kind of like maybe like do a better job painting it. But my attitude was like, I just wanted to see this thing take shape. No patience at all. I want to see like I was like impatient to see like this look like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to get it built so you can look at it.
Exactly. And greetings to Lady Mist, whom we have in the chat. I hope you're having a fine evening today. As you can see, we have Pacific 414. Of course, it needs no introduction there. So yeah, like this one here is like a Gundam prototype GP01, and this is GP02. And what makes 02 unique, and they say this in the first episode, so I'm not really spoiling anything. It's basically a Gundam prototype that's like it's obviously an improvement on the original RX-78-2. Except that it's for nuclear combat. And so you can see it's got like this heavy armor. It's got like these thick legs full of armor. You got this heavy shield with these weird cooling vents on it. And this bazooka is a nuclear bazooka. Like in the first or second episode, they're loading it up with plutonium. And like apparently it detonates the nuke like right inside that bazooka. Like it's just shooting out like fucking white plasma straight out of the front of that shit. So yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you never seen Gundam 0083, but if you like the original Gundam, or like, do you have like a favorite Gundam series or a favorite Gundam timeline?
Honestly, I have never really gotten that deep into Gundam. I've seen the original 3 movies.
Okay, that's a great start in my opinion. I mean, that's where I started too. Like, I didn't even know that the 3 movies were actually a compilation of the original series. You had like the original series, which sometimes gets referred to as Gundam 0079, but it's really just the original Keto Senshi Gundam or Mobile Suit Gundam. And like it's the movies are just a condensed version of that. And one of the things they did in the movies was eliminated some of the like vehicles. So if you like, I started with the movies myself. I watched all 3 movies. They were fantastic. They upped the production value. They might even be done in a widescreen aspect ratio. I don't remember, to be honest, but either way, the quality was like good. They improved it a little bit. Still mostly the same animation, but some improvement. And it's like a 50 episode. It's based on the 50 episodes condensed version of the 50 something episode TV series. It follows the story just the same, basically, except that you have a couple of other vehicles in there. So for example, the Gundam has the ability to do some like mid-air docking. So you have the core, you can eject the cockpit, and you have a core fighter, and the core fighter can fly independently. And then like in theory, you can launch the legs off of the ship's catapult, which would be like essentially in the original Gundam, it would be like up here. In the 0083 series, there's actually a launch catapult. There's an elevator and a catapult that flips out over here, and that's what we're looking at on this image here. We see like a catapult coming out there. But either way, the bottom line is that you can launch the legs of the Gundam, and they dock, and I guess the thing is that in the original series, they went like super robot anime. they went like they had this thing called the G Bull. In fact, I think it's time to get some pictures. It was kind of absurd. So they had this thing called the G Bull, the G Fighter, and like I don't know if these are like the anglicization names, like the English speaking names for these things or what, but you can see like I think you can see like a hint of the Gundam shield right here, and I'll get us a full-sized image of that. Oh, that's very low resolution, but you know we both know our Gundam, and we know that the Gundam has this particular shield on it. And if we flip back here, we could definitely see like, you know, you can definitely see the resemblance. You know, it's, you know, you get the idea. And yet the thing is, this is a flying machine, and it's got fucking tank tracks on it. It's not particularly aerodynamic. So when they made the movie compilation of the original Gundam series, one of the things they did was they said, let's get rid of this absurdity here. And so in the movie compilation, what you might be more familiar with is the core booster. And so core booster is basically a, oh, that's a, I hate when Google auto completes into something completely different. Here we go. The core booster is basically the front part is your core fighter, and then you have all this crap in the back. And so presumably we're dealing with space, so you got extra propulsion and all of that shit. And this is the one that when was the last time, how long ago I should say, like is this a thing you watched once, 3 times, or like a long time ago? Like when did you watch the Gundam movies?
Last time I watched the Gundam movies was 1.5 years ago.
Okay, that's pretty recent. That's fairly recent. So, you know, and we got the Padawan in the chat, Star Wars Collector Extraordinaire. Yeah, no, he's got like mad stuff.
He was also with us yesterday during the open panels on Pop Talk. And
oh yeah, that was bumping right there. Yeah, yeah, so it said like open panel second hour. Is my counting ability off, or did that go like an extra 3 hours?
The plan that I had was for the show to at least go 3 hours. The first hour, just Baron, Cash, and myself talking about different topics in an article, and then in the second hour, you know, that's where I put the invite link out. And I make sure, since the guidelines that I've put in place started in September, to try to let everybody know at the beginning of the show these are the guidelines, and they will be strictly enforced.
Speaking of which, yeah, that's a pretty good setup. I mean, you got the rules that come up. You got the buzzer. To play the buzzer sound, how do you do that?
I actually downloaded the sound, and then I just made the strikes in Photoshop. And then after I was done making them in Photoshop, I took the sound that I downloaded, opened up DaVinci Resolve, which is what I usually use to
good program, yeah,
make any clips or do any editing when I do editing, and just made it in there.
Okay, very straightforward. I got you. So you just uploaded that to StreamYard, and you could call it up while streaming. Got you. And real quick, the answer to the question about the bucket game, that looks like Office Space. For anybody who's interested in a game where you either are a bucket or get to control a bucket in a office environment, the name of that game is The Stanley Parable, and I've been meaning to download it. And actually, I don't think you become the bucket, but the name of the game is The Stanley Parable, according to Slim Nim. And the bucket in the game is actually your reassurance bucket. And if you don't know what that means, just watch Slim Nim's stream in which he showcases the Stanley Parable. And I'll drop a link at my next convenience because I do not yet have a stream element spot, as we discussed earlier. But yeah, so original Gundam series, these things happen. Yeah, so there's a Slim channel right over here for anybody watching in the chat. I just dropped the link. So basically, yeah, so they do the core boost. And if you remember a character named Slegger Law, he was like the hunk. He was this guy that they took with them to Side 6, I think, when Mirai was meeting her fiance or some shit. And he was just like this cool Federation pilot. And in, I think, the animated series, he's piloting the one of these weird contraptions. Something similar. In fact, I believe it was the G Fighter. Let me make sure here. Yes, there it is. Oh, yeah. Okay, so similar to the... So I just showed you, I think, the G Bull. And the G Fighter would be like that thing or this thing. Here we go. Or G armor. So like basically like before they did the movie compilation of Mobile Suit Gundam, they had these like exotic units, and like none of these things look like things that you want to fly in the atmosphere. Like, yeah, it's got a shield on the side, so if you get shot on the side, you're protected. But why would anybody want tank tracks hanging on I mean, it might look cool. I don't know, I'm not crazy about it, but I'm not against it. But I like the novelty of having tank tracks. So when they did the movie compilation, they made these smart decisions, or at least I think Tomino like was given enough creative control to like make enough changes that, because as I understand, like Notorio could tell you more, and I think he knows of a book or two that covers some ground on this matter. But you know, like there's always that battle between the guy who's creating it and him being interfered with by the studio, where they're like, oh, we want you to do this thing. Oh, we want more of this. We want more cowbell. We want more flashy fighters and crap, And that's sort of like why everyone in Victory Gundam dies, because he was pissed when Bandai bought Sunrise or some shit like that. They wanted like toys. So they said, we want you to make more mobile suits that look like fucking snakes or something, like weird shit, like exotic shaped mobile suits, so that we could sell cool toys. And so Tomino's reaction to that is kill everybody, every character. I mean, as you get attached to the characters. So yeah, those are some of the differences. Is the original Mobile Suit Gundam series worth your time? I mean, it hashes things out in greater detail. But all in all, I would say that if you saw the movie, you covered enough ground, and that puts you in a good position to watch Gundam 0083. I highly recommend it, and right. If anything, if you need help finding a place that streams it legitimately and legally, because of course I do not at all endorse any kind of bootlegging that is just totally immoral. I mean, there's record companies that kids need to eat. Nah, jokes aside, but I'll tell you a fucking story about that later. But this one is like, I'm not gonna spoil it because I don't need to spoil it, because it's like freaking like 12 episodes. It's not like a long series, so it's like in fact, chronologically, so they had the original Gundam series. How about Gundam 0080? You ever see that one?
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
Okay, that one's a heartbreaker. So, if you want to be put through an emotional roller coaster, check it out. Okay. But jokes aside, it's same thing, tail end of the 1 year war in this case. So it takes place, it's almost like a slice of life. It's like, it revolves around a kid living in a space colony, a neutral space colony. And some interesting things happen in there, and I'm not going to even ruin it, because when you have only 6 episodes, it's very easy to just cover too much and ruin it. But I would say, like, I think that's what I did in like 2004. I saw 0080 followed by Gundam 0083, and that's how this one is. Oh yeah, so this one actually, the reason that you need to see this, not the ship but the series, the reason you need to see it is because many people refer to this as Top Gun in space.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the pilot of that Gundam and his best friend, like they are like basically like pretty good pilots. They're test pilots, and like the beginning of the show starts over. They're testing out a new GM, what they call a powered GM. So essentially, it's one of these, except that it's got a backpack on it with a pair of jet engines on it. So whereas this has maybe like some like momentary boost capability, like the Gundam does, the powered GM has a backpack with a full-blown pair of jet engines in it, so it can fly continuously for extended periods of time, so making it much more challenging to go take a Zaku up against it, Zaku being, the Cyclops mobile suit. And it has some shock absorbers in the knees. In fact, the model kit, I gotta get the model kit for that one of these days, but that one's, like, I think more sought after, but it's got, like some shock absorbers in the leg. Pretty good stuff there. But, enough about Gundam, at least enough about Gundam that I watched. Have you seen any good anime lately, or anything that you would recommend even outside of the realm of anime?
Well, the last anime that I actually really enjoyed, and it's not a new one per se, but Black Lagoon. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's about these bounty hunters who basically have to go around and take care of some questionable people. They had to do it on the down low. I really enjoy it. When it comes to anime, I enjoy more the serious type of
I'm sorry.
anime instead of the goofy, funny anime. I prefer to be more on the serious side.
I concur. I mean, like, there's goofy animes I like, but that's why I think I like the original Gundam timeline, the Universal Century timeline so much, because like not only is it somewhat serious, but I'm capable of taking it serious. There's other Gundam timelines that I find. I mean, well, G Gundam. You ever see G Gundam? I barely watched it myself. Me neither. Okay, so I mean, I've caught a little bit of it, but are you familiar with the premise of G Gundam? Like,
not really.
Well, basically,
I'm not gonna blow smoke up your ass and say that.
No, you don't need to. Yeah, I mean, trust me. Like, I'm not. I don't care if someone likes it or hates it. But basically, the basic premise is like, whereas in Gundam, you got pilots in the cockpit of a Gundam, and using it almost like a fighter with legs, like a fighter plane with legs. G Gundam is more like the guy goes inside the cockpit of this thing, and this black bodysuit kind of encapsulate them, almost like the black like sludge guy from Star Trek The Next Generation. They get covered in that, the oil slick, and then when they move their body around, the Gundam moves like them. So if I do a karate chop, the mobile suit that I'm inside of is going to do whatever I do. So essentially you're standing inside of like a standing room environment, and in the middle of the Gundam itself, and whatever you do with your body, the Gundam does. So it's like it's almost like Gundam meets martial arts, which is, some people love that shit. I get it, like that's a mainstay. It's not my cup of tea though.
Yeah, but that's pretty cool that this particular Gundam will mimic the movements that you make, especially in a battle.
And to be fair, it is a pretty cool idea. I mean, it is like it is a pretty cool trick, and like I think like one thing, like I used to be really prejudiced against it, like. I just want to I'm finding a meme right now, but I found it. Okay, this is a great meme, and this kind of encapsulates, I think, so one time someone wrote like a blog post, and they were basically saying like, well, the problem with people like me is that I'm trying to take it too seriously, and to enjoy G Gundam, you have to like go into it with this attitude where you're not taking it too seriously. And so this picture encapsulates that point exactly. And so what you're looking at here is like okay, so I should explain. So you got the space colonies in G Gundam, but they decided to settle their wars by appointing people. So you have they have like these weird, and if anybody in chat knows more about this, you could name the republics, like essentially it's not like nation states per se. They got like some funny names for their nation states. I'll save that. And every colony, every nation state will send appointees to represent them in battle. So instead of having wars, they send people to conduct martial arts, which is kind of like almost like arbitrage, or arbitrating their conflict through this proxy conflict, I guess, or whatever you call it. And in this picture here, clearly, evidently, they're sending these mobile suits to space. And it should be noted there's a lot of exotic mobile suit design. Like we just see what looks like an RX-78 right here on the left. But somewhere over here, you see something that looks like it's got a chain wrapped around the tip of that rocket booster. And it's like standing on the side of it like this. It's like, like it's like, and so like, I don't know. I love this meme because like it just has the caption, "This is the best plan ever." And then you got like this guy with this like self-satisfied look on his face. And you got the scientist guy. He's like, and it's like, it's so stupid, but the point is that like you got like it was a message to me to like chill out, don't take it so fucking seriously, and just enjoy the fucking show. Like, enjoy it more if you don't take it so seriously. And so one of these days, I'm not there yet, I will maybe give G Gundam a chance, but I just love the more, like you were saying about in regard to watching Black Lagoon. Like I just prefer like sinking my teeth into something that is more serious. I mean, I know like there's gonna be some areas where I suspend disbelief, but I want some serious grown up themes going on in there. And at a glance, I'll tell you, like if I was just prejudging the anime based on like this picture, I might make some assumptions about it that are contrary to what you're describing. But then I see like characters in some of these pictures that look pretty hashed out. Like they all look very distinct, and there's stuff going on here. There's some depth to this. So this is going on.
Oh yeah, there is some comedy in it to add some levity to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the fact that you do have some characters that are very serious, and then some characters that are in it who do get on the goofy side, but you take it for what it is.
Yeah, and I think I can live with that. I think I take my chances with this one. I can, yeah. And this is going like in my top 5 of things that I will watch. So instead, once in a while I get someone will recommend something at work. My coworker recommends a lot of things to me, and he kind of gives me shit for just adding shit to my list. But it's like, when you gave me 100 things over the course of the year, that's a lot of things to catch up on, buddy. But jokes aside, something like that, if you told me here's some mecha anime that might get on the top of my list. He tells me oh, you need to watch Wizard of Oz, it's culturally relevant. And I'm like, God, that just sounds fucking academic now. I don't want to watch it. But it's funny. So he's got an interesting perspective, my coworker. He came from Eastern Europe in the late 80s, early 90s. So when he came to the United States, he comes in, he's in New York, he's seeing Macy's, it's decorated for the holidays. He's seeing his Wizard of Oz theme going on at Macy's. And he's trying to, assimilate, which is great. I respect that,
Yeah.
And he decides, I need to, watch this movie. I need to understand what, is going on here or something like that. And I'm sure he would describe it maybe a little differently than me, so I don't want to put words in his mouth. Definitely, he's got his own, I think, thoughts on why he does his own actions. It's far from it, for me to dictate why someone else does things. But essentially, from what I remember him describing, that's what he did. He watched his Wizard of Oz, and he kind of got into it. It resonated with him to some extent. He found it to have a lot of allegory to shit. And but then now what he'll do is when he recommends a movie, he'll be like, you don't need to watch this. Really, I like it, but you don't need to watch it. It's not culturally relevant. Or he'll put it under the category of culturally relevant, as in you're not gonna with the Wizard of Oz. So many times there's been references to the Witch of the East melting. Because there's a scene, I think, where they pour water on her and she starts melting and she starts screaming, I'm melting! And so, that was the logic there was you need to watch this because of that, But I don't know. So yeah, that's good anime to check out. Now, if I had to recommend an anime to you, aside from the 2 I recommended, one that I watched really recently that was fucking amazing, in my opinion, is called Fang of the Sun Dugrum. And what's even better about Fang of the Sun Dugrum is that apparently there's a guy on YouTube who somehow got away with murder. Got away with putting every episode in a playlist on YouTube, and it has not yet been stopped. And it's right here. You look up Fang of the Sun Dugrum, and this gentleman has a whole playlist of 75 episodes, and it's clearly it's got that Gundam thing going on, but the mobile suits in this, or the mechs, they're a little bit smaller. I think I even have some audio here. Let me see here. Let me just make some quick adjustments here. Let's see how quickly I can get myself copyrighted, huh? And let me just
play it in short bursts.
Yes, and so 2 things I do. That's you're right. So doing it in short bursts, that is important. And then there's another thing. Let me just get the that's what I'm trying to tell. There we go. Got it. Okay. Whoops. Lost it. Got it back. So what I do is whenever I do something like this, I look up here under the analytics, or stream health actually. So basically this part, it says stream is healthy, so it says nothing. But in the event that I play audio that's copyrighted or from another video, and it detects it automatically, then it'll come up next to the word stream health. It'll say we detected some audio from some copyrighted material. We might temporarily disable your stream. And it'll keep saying that even after it passes that scene. So if I pause immediately, it'll still say this is not, your content. But there's a little X that appears next to this line of text. And if I go to stream health, what will usually happen is it'll show almost like a log. So it'll say stream is healthy. will be like underneath where it is now. Then up here it'll say like this is copyrighted material. But the minute that like it detects that you're no longer playing copyrighted material, it essentially pushes the word copyright down lower, and it goes back to stream is healthy. So essentially a little strategy, I don't know if you do this, but if you keep the YouTube studio window open and it says this is like, especially like when you know you're gonna play like, let's say a clip from like Godzilla or something like that. Like I remember Paul was doing that, Star Wars guys. Paul, is he the Star Wars guys right now or Fandomology?
He's now Fandomology.
Okay, so Paul of Fandomology, check him out. Great guy, kind guy, upstanding citizen, more upstanding than me potentially. But anyway, and definitely going to heaven sooner than me. I might spend a few years in purgatory. But anyway, yeah, like when he was playing Godzilla, I remember like he's playing a harmless clip and his stream is getting like blacked out for like 60 seconds at a time. And at that point, if he was looking at this screen, it would literally say like right in this like gray bar that is what's happening. And so like the sooner I get notified of that, the sooner I can do something. So right now, if I go back to my bottom screens on this mech called the Dougram, and the planet is called the Lawyer. The Lawyer is a colony world. You know, like you got the Earth, you know, obviously it's like the big industrial or whatever, you know, and you got some rich guys there, and essentially they're kind of exploiting the planet a bit, you know, and they don't want them to get independence, because if they get independence, there's some consequences for, you know, Earth and its economy. So now you got this revolutionary war going on because the people don't like that the soldiers are acting like the British, basically. Like, you know, they're just like showing up, they're doing whatever the fuck they want, you know, like hanging out in the bar and being kind of rude, and
nobody's putting a stop to it.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, like they nobody can go to, people want to go through the legitimate process to, you know, like do the right thing, and nobody's putting a stop to it despite people doing the right thing. So they decide, you know, well, we're desperate now, we're gonna, you know, resort to these tactics. And the Dougram is unique because they have these mobile suits in the series that like are pretty generic looking, and if I see a picture of one, I'll show you. Oh yeah, here we are. I think that's a they call them solar ticks. And so the thing is that they move a bit more slowly because apparently the planet the Lawyer is near something called the X Nebula, and the X Nebula causes computers to run at like a slower speed. And so you just can't run fast computers near the X Nebula effect. So everything that's built has to deal with that. But the Dougram is X Nebula proof. And so the guy who's like basically the appointed representative from the Earth to the planet. So it's kind of awkward now that the guy's son is like in charge, is basically the Gundam pilot. Like his son, the fucking senator's son from the Federation, has his son fighting on the other side, basically. So it's like really awkward for the guy, but highly recommend it. Don't want to ruin too much. You can see the animation is from 1984, 81 actually. There was a manga that was done more recently, but yeah, I think it was worth my time. So that's my anime recommendation in general. And I forgot what I was going to say after that, but yeah, just wanted to share that because it was good. And I didn't get fired.
I appreciate it. Because, you know, growing up, especially in '84, you had Voltron, you had GoBots going on, and you had Transformers.
Yeah. So it's like right up that particular line. It's a classic, but would I recommend it to everyone? I don't know. I mean, like, I think I have a sentimental attachment to it. It was my first anime, so I'm more inclined to watch it, and I can understand that some people might have trouble wrapping their head around, like, a space, you know, train, basically. And the reason I switched back was because there's a helicopter, so I mean, who doesn't want to... Animation models for the cartoon itself?
Yes.
For the animated series? Okay.
The animated series and the movie.
God, you know, that's another thing. I saw the first Transformer movie many years ago, and then, like, a year ago, I was at a friend's house, and I was watching one of the sequels, and this was the one... there we go. Got it. This is what I was talking about. Just wanted to share this because this is kind of just for anybody who streams. This is what you get when you, like, you know, like it says right here, heads up, we've detected video in your stream belonging to someone else. Your stream may be temporarily blocked. Now, here's the thing. Once I stop playing that content, this message is going to remain persistent, but there's like a little X here, and there's a more info. If I click more info, it's going to go to the stream health tab. And so what do you see here now? It says stream is healthy. So essentially, I'm not being blocked anymore. So some people get scared. They see this warning up here, and they think they're being blocked. But if you go to stream health and it doesn't say warning up here, then it's already clear. You're good to go. and then at that point you can just X out or click more info. In my case, I'm gonna click X out. So that's just something to share. Like, you know, like I said, like you can play things on your stream and get like pretty early warning when it detects that you're doing no good. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. And by the way, you use like do you use OBS or Streamlabs OBS?
I've used Streamlabs OBS when I stream games, and I've also tried Streamlabs version of StreamYard and Restream called Talk Studio, and there's too many bugs with that particular software, and I don't really recommend using Talk Studio.
Okay,
from my experience, but you know, someone else might have a different experience. So
I hear you. Well, that one, like, I've never heard of it, so I'm not inclined to try it. Streamlabs OBS, I set it up for a friend who wanted to get into streaming himself, like, who's, like, not as much of a techie, and I had set up OBS on his computer already, so when I went to set up Slobs, it was, like, a new experience to me, and it was, like, it had all the same features, just in slightly different places. So in my case, I was mostly concerned about getting my audio sources, like microphone, desktop audio, you know, lined up, and setting up maybe like, you know, some minor filters. And both, like, all of the same stuff was available on both Slobs and OBS. And real quick, QPX says Roblox. He wants me to play Roblox Wednesday, my friend. No, really, I'm serious though. And real quick, I do also want to thank, I think Zombie Box Review said that he would share out the stream. And for anybody who said that in the chat, thank you. So anyway, where was my brain here? Yeah, so Streamlabs OBS, like, I remember Cash Money was saying, like, it's easier for some people, and whereas if I'm already accustomed to using OBS, that, you know, it's a harder thing. Like, a lot of people find it, like, more challenging to set up. So if I've already crossed the barrier of setting up OBS and being comfortable with it, then I'm probably in a good place, and there's no reason for me to, like, you know, go to Slobs. But I can see where Slobs might be easier, or have things arranged in such a way that's, like, less almost ambiguous, I would say, because there's sometimes things that, like, you are ambiguous, but once you get used to them, you don't realize they're ambiguous. And I'm entirely comfortable. My biggest issue with OBS right now is I keep, like, I cleaned this up like 6 months ago, and I have, like, luckily it's not as messy as it was, but you can see I got, like, a lot of scenes. And do I need all these scenes? Probably not. Like, I have basically what I need is my webcam, my downward facing camera, and my desktop, and those are like 3 separate scenes, whereas this scene here is my right monitor with, you know, obviously the camera and camera together on it, you know. But, like, I need a scene for, like, when I'm playing Nintendo, so there's like a button I click here, or I hit a button on my Stream Deck and it shows you my HDMI input, and I play Nintendo Switch or whatever. But then when I'm playing OG Xbox and it's a standard definition game, or it's like not exactly standard, it's like widescreen but standard definition, it's kind of weird how it works, then I find I have to, like, stretch the image or resize it a certain way, you know. It's getting a little bit tricky. So these are, like, why I have so many damned sources. Like, off the top of your head, how many sources do you have in Streamlabs OBS?
Too many. far too many. But, you know, some of them I actually exported from OBS.
Ah, I see. So you had a working setup in OBS, and when you were moving to or utilizing Streamlabs OBS, you exported those scenes and sources together. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, I definitely like actually the scene we're looking at now, the sources are not that complex. Like, we got webcam, and what's happening is, like, you see part of my arm is getting deleted, and I think this might be a holdover from my old camera, because what happened was with the old camera, it just didn't do the chroma key thing properly, you know, green screen. And I found a trick where if you take your camera and split up into separate, like, chunks, so we have, like, there's my arm right here, you basically give it different settings for this area for the, like, brightness, and you give different settings for the brightness or contrast over here. And then apparently there's something else here, I don't even know where it is. Like, I'm turning it on and off, nothing's happening, but you get the idea. So that's a little weird, but not a big deal. I could just, like, you know, collapse it. Then we got my right monitor. Oh yeah, so anytime you ever see the stars behind me, it's really this. Like, I just take the corner of this and I use it. Like, it's from season 4 of Enterprise.
Yeah, but when Trip was on the Columbia, and then there was an issue where they had to grapple and connect to Enterprise, and because Enterprise's engines were having a problem, and the new engineer didn't know the engines as well as Trip did.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was a cool scene too. Like that's one thing. Enterprise, I think, sometimes pushed the envelope with the visual effects. And a shout out to the Pop Culture Mechanic, who has a live stream tomorrow night at, I believe, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, known as Trades Talk, where he discusses the trades. And if you want a career working in the trades, or just seeing cool machines and stuff like that, then you should tune into Pop Culture Mechanic tomorrow night.
Definitely, he does great content with his trade talk. He does his gaming streams on Saturdays, and then he'll usually have a theme for the month of anime that he talks about. And he's a great guy too.
And it's like, not to be like sound like I'm hitting on you guys, but you guys, like, I'd say like some of my content creation, like I'm learning like from you guys a bit, or I'm watching what you guys do. And like, so for example, you have a song, and like, it's like, I'm not saying you wrote the song, but you have a song, you have like, you start your stream, you play this song, you got branding, it's like, it says Pacific 414, and you got a song. Me, like, I just started this stream ice cold. It was like, are we live yet? We are live. It's like, and I'm wondering, I kind of have fun doing that, but I would like to polish it up a little bit and do like something similar to it. And then you do that. Pop Culture Mechanic, his Sunday show, and which usually I got a little secret. I kind of like, I shouldn't be saying this on stream, that I sometimes take a nap during his show, because what happens is Sunday night, Saturday night actually, I don't always get a good night's sleep, and so I take a 15-minute break where I take a nap. Yeah, we're gonna call it a 15-minute break, all right? Because I'm at work on Sunday from like 7 to 7. But anyway, so as a result, I don't always get to enjoy the entirety of Pop Culture Mechanics show. But I noticed, like, when his Sunday show starts, he'll have like, it's a well-edited opening, like he's got the little video boxes of different animes or different franchises kind of popping up like Brady Bunch style, and he's got like a song that is presumably royalty-free or otherwise has the rights to, and the same thing with you got a song that's either royalty-free or that you otherwise have the rights to. And that's something that, like, and even like Loki, who I was watching long before both you guys, and Stone Loki's Mornings of Mischief, he's got like
great guy.
Yeah, great guy, great show. And like, he starts his show off, he has that song that he had somebody, basically he contracted someone to make his song, so that he's got like the right to use it. So no question about using that song, in perpetuity, I presume. And then he does, actually, in Loki also, I remember years ago when I started watching him, he said he enjoys making openings. He enjoys, just like taking some clips, making an opening sequence or something like that. And, he's good at that. Yeah.
That's me. When it came to creating the various intros that I've created for the channel, I'll usually go into Photoshop, try to create something with multiple layers, and then I'll make different versions of it, and then go into DaVinci Resolve, or now that I have Filmora or Wondershare, use a combination of DaVinci Resolve and Wondershare to try to get the desired effect that I'm looking for.
That's pretty sharp there. Yeah, I like to do everything in one place if I can, but like one-stop shop. But that is a good way to go, is like string together different tools. And I believe Punkwaddle uses Filmora, and if I remember correctly, does Filmora also include some royalty-free stuff or music or something like that people can use? So
yeah,
I can see that. Yeah. That's, because then I can see where like someone like me or you or me, like, at least the way I'm picturing it, at least, is like I can picture a scenario where like I'll go into Filmora to make maybe part of an opening, then I'll export that with the music, and then I'll pump it into, shuffle it into DaVinci where I would do more stuff to it, or you get the idea, like do some initial stuff here, refine it over here, or maybe use DaVinci to do the stuff that I find easier to do. Because one thing I like about DaVinci, and we have Jason Fox here?
Yes.
I don't see it. Oh, that's cool. All right, we really got an all-star chat right now. So, but like one thing I like about DaVinci is like when I export for YouTube upload, it's got a preset that appears to have the correct settings. I mean, unlike my old bootleg copy of Adobe Premiere Pro, I actually get updates for DaVinci, you know. So like I generally,
Yep.
I'm assuming that the updates will, you know, have the video encoder settings that are appropriate, you know, for YouTube and stuff. And that works out because like I noticed some weird things, like when you upload video that's not encoded properly for YouTube, it'll work, but it does weird things on YouTube's end. It has to transcode it or re-encode it, and sometimes it'll take longer for a newly published thing to be available at all of the different, you know, resolutions, you know, 1080p, 720p, 480. So some things I'm learning, but I can see where like but I'd imagine Filmora is probably just as good as DaVinci when it comes to direct upload.
I think it is, and I think again using the combination of the two. Okay, well, DaVinci is limited in this aspect, but Filmora actually has that particular, you know, effect that I'm looking for. So render the video in DaVinci, and then, you know, make sure when I'm creating it in DaVinci, I create, you know, cuts, or at least tell myself that this is where I want to add this effect, this is where I want to add that effect when I'm bringing it over to Filmora.
Interesting.
And you know, keep playing it around. I mean, again, using Photoshop, using different editing software, and you know, just trying to see what I can do without having to ask somebody and pay somebody to do it.
Speaking of paying somebody, like, do you use maybe if this is a trade secret, let me know. And real quick, I'm going to read what Jason Fox had to say. But I have a question. If it's a trade secret or you don't want to answer it, you know, just tell me. Just say to us, the audience, me and the audience, it's a trade secret. We will respect that. I certainly will. But real quick, Jason Fox says, I used to use DaVinci and Filmora and Premiere Pro. Been editing for many years with film and video. Holy shit, he's been editing with film. You know how hard it is to edit film? You gotta like cut the negatives up. No, I'm joking. I know he doesn't mean that. I'm sure he means film, like motion movies. Anyway, and videos, etc. And I always say it's good to have different ones since not all of them have everything I need. Filmora has a lot of effects and free gifts, stickers, music, and so much more. Well, that's a sales pitch right there. So what I do is I've been meaning to buy DaVinci what do you call it, Studio, and right now I'm using the free one. The free one's very good. It is a very full-featured version, but at some point I'm happy to support them, like, because they're not like assholes. It's not like they're saying like pay $50 a month for like every year, like for, you know, like, because that's like $500 a year. Like, you know, before when I started doing YouTube, like when I went into this, like taking it more seriously as opposed to ultra casual, I was ready to spend like $600 to buy like a copy of Adobe Premiere. Like, if it was just a good boxed copy, like with a legit activation, you know, and all of that, like just like no subscription, $600 mine. Because my attitude is like, well, after like 1 year it pays for itself. Because I was using the same bootleg copy of Adobe for years. Like, granted, I used it very casually. I literally used it to make like greeting cards, like, not even kidding. Like, I would go into Premiere, take a clip from Star Trek, add some text to it saying happy birthday, Merry Christmas, you know, and as the Borg cube is exploding, it would say happy birthday, you know, or some dumb shit like that. And what was cool is I could export it as a, you know, MPEG-4. I could export it as a like straight up GIF. So if I want to send it to somebody on a cell phone without audio, you know, and so when I got into this more seriously, I said, okay, like I need something, you know, real. So DaVinci's been really good to me, but I'm more than willing, like the way that their business model works, I'm happy to support them, truly am. And I've just been putting it off. Right now, I do have a bootleg copy on a virtual machine on my server. I almost never use it. I use it basically just like whenever there's a feature that's not available to me in the free version, and I want to see if it's worth buying, I'll use the bootleg, see if the feature is worth my time, and then that's usually like the point where like I'm about to pull the trigger. But I haven't used the bootleg to make real YouTube videos. Just it's there, like I say, like almost like a trial copy I rely upon. But you know, like I've been rolling with it.
I ended up buying the full DaVinci Studio, and it comes with a dongle. And as long as you keep that dongle in your USB drive, anytime there's an update, you get that update. You don't have to pay anything extra.
I did not know they used the dongle as their method of activation. That's cool. I can respect that. You know, it's a very tried and tested way. I remember when I worked in when I worked at Best Buy, they had this device. It looked like a printer port with like no cable. It was a printer cable with no wire sticking out of it. It's called a hasp, and a hasp is similar to that. So like if you're a mechanic and you have like diagnostic software where you plug a desktop computer or a laptop into a car, you would need this. It was the same concept. It would be a dongle to, you know, like I said, show activation for the software to run. And Jason Fox says, I do have the full version of DaVinci, and one thing I don't like is the audio editing, since they use the same, like a lot of cheaper and other programs.
That is aggravating, especially when I've done videos for intros where I have to change the pitch and the tone of different voices, trying to get just the right pitch and tone, and you might move it just one little point to the left too much, and then you have to try to get it back to where you want it.
So I mean, don't you guys? Well, not you guys, but I mean, you know, Control Z, undo. You know what I mean? Like, so like,
yeah.
Is that something I rely on in Photoshop? It's both Control Z is like stepping back. So if I make a mistake in Photoshop, Control Z will go back one step. But if I want to go back like 4 steps, then I have to do Control Alt Z. And essentially, every time I press Control Alt Z, it'll go back like whatever I did last. It'll go back 1 step, and that's essentially something I rely upon in DaVinci. Is that something that you do you ever utilize it, or does it give you trouble utilizing that?
I've used it, and then there are times where I don't use it. I just go to edit, hit undo, or I find the exact part where I added the layer, and I go, nope, take that out.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's like definitely like my workflow definitely relies a lot on it, having undo available. And there are situations where I've encountered in different programs where undo doesn't work, or like in Photoshop, especially old versions, like there's certain actions you do that just kind of invalidate the undo history like en masse, and then you're like, fuck. And then there's some, and I can see where those types of issues crop up. It's pretty good to know, so that's like what I need is to like, I don't want to say copy, but I do want to like sort of like, I don't know what the right word is, replicate, learn from, but if I want to adopt similar practices to what you and Pop Culture Mechanic do in terms of, and other people, like in terms of just having a decent intro that suits my, I think suits my preferences. And I'm kind of reluctant. I don't to like, just take other content and combine it. But then again, Loki, he does something similar and it works out really well. I mean, there's times he would just take things from every movie he loved, and when you're passionate about a movie, that makes sense, and combine it into like a good intro. So that's one route. And then when he did his recent, past year and a half, he got some royalty-free footage. I think he got it from this is another alternative. So you guys mentioned EVARRR. I believe he was using Power Directive 365. Which I believe is,
I have used that in the past. I just haven't quite gotten the grasp of it yet.
Is it an app? Is it a web browser thing? What is it?
It's software.
It is software.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know why in my head I'm picturing it as like a cloud-based, web browser-based thing. That's just my imagination probably going wild, but that's something that I wanted to try out just because like maybe it's worth it. Maybe like if the subscription is cheap enough right now. So I have until January to renew. Well, I can renew at any time, but right now my Storyblocks account expires in January, and Storyblocks is like stock footage. It's pretty good. I mean, it's all right, but certainly like a lot of music is super duper generic, like ultra royalty free. Like, and last Christmas I went to do like a holiday card, which I think we have that right here. Let's find last Christmas upload real quick. We'll share that with the stream before we get into the wrap up phase of today's show. Because I did say this would only be an hour. I do appreciate you sticking it. Last week, when you have a good guest, it might go a little longer. Last week, me and Punk Model went a bit longer, but don't, I'm not gonna hold you hostage.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, that's how I feel when I do Pop Talk with Baron and Cash. If the conversation's going well and flowing well, keep it going. Don't stop
Word.
it.
That's a good point. So let's see here. Here it is. Okay, so it's funny. So I'm really slow on uploads. It's a minor miracle I have as many uploads as I do since last year. But since last Christmas, this is like literally last Christmas. And in the upload before that is my shout out to Brandon, because you know Brandon likes his shout out videos. So I did one. He did one. My shout out, I would say that I did a good shout out video for Brandon. I'm not to be tooting my own horn, but I freaking like went in. I like showed like his friggin' website. In fact, I showed a video of him shouting out my fucking channel. But jokes aside, like I did give him accolades, because one of the things he was doing is he would do these things called DVD Easter eggs. And so he would essentially take a Simpsons DVD, find hidden menu items like this one here, for example, and then when you click on a hidden menu item, you get these like, you know, random bits of artwork or Easter eggs. So that was kind of cool. But getting back on topic, the Christmas video. So yeah, let me share this with everybody, because we're in the holiday season. So I'm not saying it's the greatest video, but this is like basically I guess what I'm trying to point out is I wanted to get some fucking Christmas music, and the closest damn thing I can get to Christmas music was the following. The audio is good, quality wise.
Yep.
But it's like, it's clearly going for "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," but it's playing it in a loop. And this is not, I didn't edit the song. This is like it.
Yeah, see, that's something that I find to be, you know, a little hard to do sometimes, is finding royalty-free music that you can use, but making sure that it sounds good enough, and maybe doesn't have so many loops in it.
Yes, exactly. Now, one of the things I did like was I was able to get this like chroma key snowflake footage. Now, on the downside, I've never seen a snowflake that looks like a David Starr, but it was like it had a nice green background that allowed me to put it in front of Godzilla, so we get some snow. Now, by the way, this is from Godzilla versus Hedorah, and for some absurd reason, Godzilla goes Harrier jet. He takes his atomic breath, points down, and he's literally like I'm gonna play that one more time because it's so absurd. He does like, I mean, you know how it is with Godzilla. Guy in a rubber suit, he's like, and he literally like turns into a freaking hovercraft using his atomic breath. And I decided to incorporate it in the holiday card because of the high absurdity of it. But like you said, I think it was well said how you described like the generic stuff. It's like a lot of loops, very generic. And I just threw in the thing because I felt it was kind of Christmassy to have the end of this is a good movie. That's Gundam F91, and it's sort of like late in the Universal Century timeline. So same timeline as the original Gundam, just, you know, more in the future, and you know, that's just different topics. So yeah, anyway, bottom line is, yeah, that's the challenge that I encountered with this royalty-free music thing here. And real quick, let me see if we have anything else in the chat here. So Jason Fox adds that I use Premiere Pro with audio since I can do everything with hand, etc., and create fades. And actually, I have something to interject on that. And create the fades better since they use more of a pro audio editor that most programs should use. So I don't know jack shit about audio editing. So like, you know, like it's like I feel like I'm not missing anything. But I'm glad to hear it from you guys, because apparently like there is something that I might be missing out on. And so two things I do, like when I'm adjusting the audio levels on an audio track in DaVinci. My old mouse, or the mouse I use at work, has like a button on it that puts the like pointer into slow mode. So when you press this button now, when you move the pointer, instead of it moving like this, it's like for the same amount of rotation, the mouse will move like that. You know, it just slows it down. So it's like helpful when you're doing Photoshop, or when you want to move like a volume slide, you try to move it up like a half a decibel, and you keep overshooting the mark. So that's kind of helpful. Or if I'm trying to move something along a timeline accurately, and I need to scale down, you know, to how fast the mouse is moving. Now this mouse is a little weird. This one here, you have to install extra software for this mouse, but when you do, holding down the control button, like I might be able to demonstrate right now. So when I move my mouse, it's moving fast, but when I hold down control, it's supposed. Oh, there we go. Now it's moving slow, so you can see like, okay, so it's moving fast. Then when I hold down control, it doesn't move very far at all. So that's like how I get my fine control there, basically. So I don't know if that helps anyone, but you know, some shit I do. But basically, yeah. So it's you know, glad to get some ideas, you know, from you guys, and so I'll keep in mind that also you and Jason Fox kind of shared, and Punk Waddle and Floral at some point, that Filmora has a lot of good music. So maybe before I renew my Storyblock subscription, I'm gonna try Filmora out and see if maybe like, you know, he's like, look, like sound effects is great. Like I like the idea. And one thing about Storyblocks is after the subscription expires, I can keep using the audio, so they're not gonna like beat me over the head with a team of lawyers or something like that. But at the same time, like I said, like I just felt really limited with the, you know, like the looping music and stuff like that. So I'm gonna do like a mass download of stuff from Storyblocks before the month is up, and then make a serious decision on whether to renew it. Definitely gonna give these other options a chance, like Power Directive 365, Filmora, just because like they're bundling some, you know, royalty free. And let's give a shout out to the Nerdporeal Lifeform. I hope you're having a fine evening tonight. You better be careful. If you keep showing up on Monday night, I might invite you as a guest, and you know, that could be dangerous on a Monday night. Nah, but jokes aside, you know, some of like I gotta be up at 5 a.m. and shit, but I don't know, it's just like a good time slot. I don't know, this time slot works for me. And
that's another thing. When you're doing a live stream, is trying to find that appropriate spot, you know, that appropriate time slot that works for you and works for your audience.
Oh shit, I just had the audio looping. Let me just clean that up. So I always forget to do that. So when I do things through OBS, I have to remember when I want to share my audio, I need to get a pair of speakers and like route the audio through the speakers, because when someone talks to me on DaVinci, it echoes, I think. Like, it's kind of crazy. But real quick, do I fix the audio issue so no more echoing will occur? Folks in the chat, if you heard any echoing, let me know. I'm just kind of curious if that was an issue or if I'm just paranoid. And Nerdporeal Lifeform says, I hear DJ's favorite stream he ever did was Chillporeal with me. That was my second favorite. No, okay, that was a good time. My favorite stream I ever did was the Shadows of the Empire stream. It was my first. It will always be memorable, and Shadows of the Empire is one of my all-time favorite Star Wars games. And it was the first time I met Baron, and we know how, you know, how cool Baron is, despite him calling me a nerd and then making fun of me and my turtles, which actually it's true. I'm kind of obsessed with my turtles. It's my buddy right there. But jokes aside, yeah, that was a good time. We had a good time. We covered a lot of ground. That stream went like the Chillporeal stream we did on Brian's channel, Nerdporeal Lifeform. That thing went like, I think it went like a good 3 hours or something like that. You know, the time flew by. So yeah, it was a good time, and I'm sure, like you said earlier in the stream, one day we'll have a similar stream on your channel, and it'll be grand. It'll be like the Klingon Empire, the Centauri Empire in the old days when it took 50 non.
That's right. For Centauri, not the non. Centauri.
What was that joke? How many non does it take to change a light bulb?
I can't remember it exactly off the top of my head.
We got to look that up right now.
Yeah. But you know, if you're looking for, you know, royalty-free music, you can go to YouTube Studio, and there's creator music in there, and they have a lot of royalty-free music that you can use.
Yeah. I will have to, you know what? I vaguely remember hearing about that. I don't know. I've never tried that. I don't know why I never tried that. But I will try that out. And I got the joke right here. Wait, there's like 10. Who the fuck does this shit? There's like 10 versions of the joke. I want the one from the episode. I don't want somebody else's clever version of that. Maybe Reddit? No, damn it. No, now they're talking about Germans. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. All right, well, whatever. Like, one of these days I'll rewatch Babylon 5. Oh, wait, here we are. Got it.
Tubi. It's on Tubi, brother.
I bought. Okay, so two things. One, didn't it come out already on Blu-ray?
Yes, last Tuesday. I have my copy. I believe Nerdporeal has his copy too.
And I believe I will be ordering mine like today or tomorrow. Yeah, no, because I got the friggin' I bought the DVD box set just because there was like some reason that I needed the DVD box set. Oh, I remember. So like 2 years ago, I had this crazy idea to rip the DVD box set so that all of the live action scenes are in widescreen. Then take the VHS version and take the visual effects composite scenes and edit them into the DVD version. Because one of the problems with the DVD version is that a lot of the VFX composite scenes are zoomed and cropped. They're filmed at like, 4:3 aspect ratio. So to put it on widescreen, they essentially had to zoom in and cut off the top and bottom. And that's why any scene where they're in front of a green screen basically is like blurry, it looks like crap. That's the reason why. And so when they put it on Amazon as the remastered version, they didn't do it in widescreen. That's because when that was the only way they could like preserve the quality of the VFX composite scenes, and it worked out because that was how it was intended to be broadcasted. That's how it was directed for TV. But now the Blu-ray version, as I understand it. By the way, did you guys start watching your Blu-ray versions yet? Did you watch yours, Mike?
I haven't opened mine yet.
All right. I just want to know, I mean, I could look this up myself, but if either of you guys, Nerdportal, if you watched your Babylon 5, I just want to know, is it widescreen? Is it 4:3? I'm fine with it being 4:3. I'm just curious if they did something crazy, like tried to make it widescreen somehow, and I'm curious by what voodoo magic. But my guess is, if I had to guess, they're using the same cut that they put on Amazon and HBO, the HBO app, basically. And I think they did a beautiful job. I paid for that shit on Amazon because I didn't know whether they'd come out with a Blu-ray next year or 20 years from now. Not that they would be, but you get the idea. So as a result, I bought it on fucking Amazon. Yeah, I paid like $30, I think $20 or $30 per season to have the pleasure of not having it in my hand, which is something I'm usually very against, but I tricked myself into doing it by justifying the purchase. I said to myself, I would just record it off Amazon. So essentially hook the, Roku or Elgato or HDMI output to a capture device and just literally record it the old-fashioned way. But now that there's a Blu-ray out, I don't have to do that. So one way or another, I'm going to do it. And real quick, I appreciate that Nerdportal. He says I carried this stream. No, I did not get the Blu-ray yet, and I will because I've been planning to get it. And a quick side note for anybody likes audiobooks, which I know a lot of people don't. It's just, I get it. Some people like to read books, but there's two things that we talk about. One, I'm going to ruin Orville, Sympathy of the Devil. You ready? No, I'm joking, but would you like me to ruin that? Would anybody like me to spoil the Orville book, Sympathy for the Devil? If I get 2 people in the chat plus Mike, I will spoil it right now in like 1 sentence.
It's not gonna bother me. I'm already going through the book.
So we got that. Yeah. Okay. So basically, let's see. And then I need 2 takers. All right. Nobody in the chat. Okay. Don't care. That's 1, unless we count Mike as 1. All right. I'm gonna take 30 seconds to do this. Okay. Good. So basically, it's a fucking holodeck episode. No, but Joe, it was interesting. It was an allegory. I mean, you got this thing. They're dealing with Nazi Germany. So it's an Orville episode in a book, and it's narrated by Bruce Boxleitner from, Babylon 5 and Tron, Captain John Sheridan. He did a pretty good narration on the audiobook. It's also a short audiobook. As far as audiobooks go, like to give you an example of other audiobooks, right now, there's a series called Expeditionary Force. And now I'm book 16, and literally I have the pre-order, and it drops like today. And unfortunately, Audible doesn't seem to drop their pre-orders at midnight New York time. So I think somewhere around 2 or 3 a.m. when I should hopefully be sleeping, that's when this book will drop. And I'm looking forward to it because I've been following this series since book 1. And I'm not going to go into the weeds on it right now because it's really late. But like, maybe I'll do a book review soon. I'll do a series and book review at some point. Maybe like just do a synopsis of the series. But yeah, Sympathy for the Devil. So the Orville book, let's see here. I'm sure it'll come right up as the first thing here.
Yep, there it is.
It was very weird because like I remember like it was almost like following some kid who's living in like Switzerland or Germany or some shit. And it was a ramp up to like, the Nazis rise to power, and this German kid is just a kid, and then before you know it, he's working for the Nazis. He's working in the fucking concentration camp, and it gets to the point where like they're in a holodeck episode of Star Trek, and it's on some Krill planet, I believe. Like the Krill, at the courtesy of the Krill, they have a holodeck or simulator on some planet. And when they end the program, the kid is still the young adult. He's still like fucking like the biggest Nazi. Like he sees the doctor. What's the doctor's name on Orville? You know, the lady from Deep Space Nine.
Claire.
Yeah, Claire, Dr. Claire. And he's like, he's not having it. He's like a Nazi. He's a hardened Nazi, and he's got fucking an African American woman as a doctor. So you can just imagine where that fucking goes. And it was interesting. It's just that, like, I don't know, like, I did, like, if it wasn't only 3 hours, I'd probably be more hard pressed to get through it. But it was only 3 hours, so, you know, compared to like the book I just showed you that was like 19 hours long, this was like a relative walk in the park. Like, you know, 4 1-hour sessions. Sometimes I listen to it before bed, you know, like a bedtime story almost. So yeah, do I recommend it? I don't know. I think it was okay, and that was the spoiler. And you know what's beautiful about the spoiler I just gave is that I gave so little like meaningful detail that if anybody wants to know more, they're gonna have to read it anyway. So I don't think I ruined a whole lot. So anyway, is there anything you want to add? Anything you want to promote? Any plans? Any aspirations? Anything at all? You have the floor.
Well, tomorrow I'll be playing Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, and I'll be playing that for the first time on stream. I've played it offline a little bit just to get used to the game, but I'll be playing that. And then Wednesday on the channel, and this is 6 p.m. Eastern for tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. It'll be Pacific Forum 4 Pop Talk, where I am inviting everyone who was a special guest for 2023 back onto the show to talk about the good, bad, and ugly of pop culture and entertainment. And I have assured them, and I'm going to mention it right here, right now, that I will do my darndest to make sure that everybody who wants to come on to the panel gets on to the panel. I've even offered to take myself off of the panel so someone else can get on, and then I'll just produce the show from behind the scenes. And then when there's a moment for me to get on to let everybody know, okay, this is where we're going now, because I say that because the first 2 hours are going to be on YouTube and Rumble. And then in the third hour, we're going to be on Rumble exclusively.
Ooh, cool. And yeah, like I didn't touch on RoboCop, but I know, and it looks like you're still going to be playing some RoboCop Rogue City in the coming days on the 14th of December. And that
Yes.
pop culture entertainment wrap up, is that the stream you were talking about? Or
Yeah,
is that gonna
that's going to be
Okay.
the one for Wednesday for Pop Talk. And
All right, so we'll just put in Wednesday Pop Talk. Oh yeah, so the trade secret I didn't ask you. Like I said, this is a trade secret. Just say it's a trade secret. I don't want you to have to divulge anything you don't want to divulge. But you know when like you're playing a song and you have that really deep voice and you're like the guy saying pop culture is the bee's knees or whatever he says. Is that you and a voice modulator? Did you hire a voice actor? Like how did that come to be?
no, what Baron and Crit found was this AI voice generator.
All right.
So-
Well, that was brilliant.
So they created that, and they had me listen to it, and you know they said if you like it and you want to use it, go ahead. And I listened to it. I said, yeah, we can use it.
Wow. All right.
I could be
That
pretty
works.
easygoing when it comes to coming up with ideas for the show, and not to say I'm not a stickler on certain things, because I am.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody has an idea, it's like, okay, I'll hear you out. And if I think it's good for the channel, especially Pop Talk, then we can go with it. If I feel that it's better suited on, say, Baron's channel or Cash's channel, I'll come out and let them know.
All right. Well, I think it works, and I think it's cool, and I think it's got like a certain like whimsicalness to it. You know, it just works. And then the last question I have, and it's like once again, if it's a trade secret, I respect that. The music, how, where?
Well, that's mostly through the YouTube Creator Studio.
Really? Huh.
Get it,
All right.
getting the, you know, royalty-free music from there. So
Okay, so the main song, like
when
the
you're
that song you use like on
yeah,
Sunday, like the yeah.
yeah, the little intro song for Pacific 4 and 4. That's where I found it, and then also Pop Talks, the main theme, which is always played on Sundays. I found that on YouTube through the Creator Studio, and then the one that I used for Wednesday, I found that, and for the special topic editions of Pop Talk, or when we were talking about Power Rangers 30th anniversary back in April, I found the music on YouTube. You know,
Cool.
I'm really into, rock music, so I try to find something that has a little bit of rock and metal vibe to
Yeah,
it.
I got you. Sometimes metal music really works well for what we do, I think, or especially like
Mhm.
it's just certain things. It works really well. It does, and finding some royalty-free stuff. I mean, like, look, there's some metal music I like, but too many fucking big label recording labels. I know I can't just fucking take, you know, Zach Wild and throw it into fucking stream and expect not to have that get flagged.
Yeah.
But okay, no, it's good. Just so so then it looks like multiple people are telling me take a look at the YouTube Studio options because apparently there's stuff in there that I haven't even remotely scratched the iceberg on, and so that will be one of my takeaways today. So I appreciate your knowledge on that, Pop Culture Mechanic, and Jason Fox for sharing your knowledge on that matter today. And
You never know what song or even a sound effect that you might find, because I have also found sound effects using Studio, and then going into DaVinci and changing the pitch and the tone to get it to sound just right, especially when we were doing
oh,
our Halloween edition of Pop Talk. I found a few moans and groans and cheers, and I thought, well, maybe if I tweak this a little bit here, a little bit there, it'll give me the effect that I'm looking for.
I got you. Okay, so I see you're tailoring it a bit. I got you.
Hmm.
That's cool. Yeah, I did mess around with Audacity a little bit, and I haven't done anything clever with it, but it's got its uses. Maybe one day I'll learn how to do something really clever with it. But yeah, no, it's, just basically the basics, just getting use of that music. I'll explore that before the month is up. Because like I say, like right now, when I wrapped this stream up, I don't have a cool outro. I don't have any like music. I'm just gonna be like, thanks for watching and shit. So looks like we covered ground. Do you have any other final words before I wrap up?
Well, I just want to say to any potential future subscribers or anyone who might want me on as a guest in the future, just know on Pop Talk, we do like to have fun, but I also know when I go on to a different channel to read the room, and if it's a serious conversation, I could be as serious as the best of them.
Word, and that's true. I have no, I never would have any doubts about your, what do you call it, your demeanor, your yeah, all that shit, all that professional crap. You're on point. I don't think anybody has anything to fear or be concerned with. And even on your own show, I think it's very above board. And even when you guys have fun and play it fast and loose, it's still a quality thing. Like, I mean, I would respect you guys more than the likes of professional jocks, who I will not name because I don't want to give them free advertising. Yeah, I'm not going to advertise any mainstream people here today. But yeah, no, it's a radio show, man. It's like a good old fashioned Pop Talk is like a good old fashioned radio show. Actually, it's not old fashioned because I mean you got graphics, and you can share your screen. It's 21st century right here, and that's pretty cool. And for
That's
any,
true, and I will definitely say, and I am shouting him out because he has helped since he's
Ooh.
been a regular part of Pop Talk, is Baron and his experience in radio.
Oh yeah, he
Getting his
literally.
advice.
That's true. He literally worked in radio and all of that shit. In fact, we're gonna drop Baron Orman tag into the chat too because definitely. And did we drop Nerdporial? We'll drop Nerdporial because I'm all about equality here. But jokes aside, now if I'm gonna drop you and Baron and Brian, here, we're gonna.
I'm going to say a little joke here. If you're about equality, then don't invite Cash Money.
And so actually it's funny. So apparently like Brian Nerdporial Lifeforms on book 4 of Wheel of Time. So I was having trouble with my reading comprehension with Wheel of Time, and maybe it was I was getting bored or something like that. So what I did was I went and I looked up like videos of other people spoiling and describing the book, because I figured maybe that'll give me a hook. I get a good spoiler. It'll kind of help me to understand what am I reading, what environment is this in. I understand it's some kind of travel log. The first book is like a travel log basically, but it's like, to me, it's such an alien world. Like I don't know, just my brain wasn't clicking. So I listened to enough spoiler is of book 1 now that now as I'm reading it, I'm kind of comprehending it better. So I hopefully will catch up soon, because I'd like to get in on this bandwagon where I could share enjoyment of a book, with other people. Right now, like, I'm hooked up. I'm a big fan of Hyperion, but that's only a 4-book series, and you can only like talk about a 4-book series so much, but that's something that I hope to get more enjoyment out, and like I'm definitely gonna finish that book. So yeah, Expeditionary Force, the book I was mentioning about. First book is called Columbus Day, and this will be like my not closing but almost. So I'll just real quick, let me just Force Columbus Day. So the book that's dropping tomorrow is from the same series as this picture right over here, and that's just a low resolution picture. So whoops, I'm in tiny view. Let me switch myself up. Okay, so basically aliens attack Earth, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? And at first we think like, okay, these teddy bear looking guys are attacking us. Then these lizards show up, these aliens that look like lizards, and they scare the teddy bears away. And they're like, hey, you want to get revenge on those teddy bears that attacked your world? We'll give you, access to a ship, and we'll fly you over to this world. And basically, we're sent there. Human soldiers are sent there as like an occupation force on like a world that's, currently being conquered by these lizards. And we start to realize, and this is all in the synopsis right here, so I'm not really ruining it. We start to realize maybe the good guys aren't actually the good guys, and the roles are reversed. And at some point, one of your main characters like ends up being like a big colonel, and like sort of like touring the planet with doing agricultural work, but he ends up in a jail. He ends up in a lizard jail, and he stumbles into this thing, an AI that's shaped like a beer can, and basically this AI beer can hack computers, but for whatever reason this AI beer can takes on personality attributes from this American soldier named Joe Bishop. And essentially, he decides to name the beer can Skippy, because it reminds him of a can of Skippy peanut butter. And Skippy the Magnificent, because he's like also kind of bit like conceited, because he's like so fucking smart. He looks like a black beer can, but eventually he gets access to holograms, so he can sort of make himself look like fucking Captain Crunch. He's an asshole. He's an asshole, and like at one point, like the captain is talking on the ship's intercom, and he decides to make the captain look like Barney. He uses like some like almost like not AI, but like he basically edits the video signal to make the fucking captain look like Barney. Which you could just imagine, like you're the captain, you want the respect and admiration of your crew, and you're addressing your crew, and all they're seeing is fucking Barney the dinosaur addressing them. And that's like a microcosm of the very series that I'm going to continue enjoying tomorrow when that next book drops. And if anybody's interested, yeah, book 1 is like fucking 15 books. If you don't want to get in too deep, don't start this series, because it's a lot of books to get through. Yeah, any questions, Mike?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me on your show, and really appreciate it.
Oh, no doubt, man. Thank you for being on my show. I mean, it's an honor, and you're the second guest. That's why I titled today's stream the second guest ever. Like when they do that best ever thing.
The bestest ever.
Yeah, and like as I get more comfortable at doing this, I got Punk Waddle and you, because I'm comfortable with you guys. We get along. I'm not afraid of you people. I mean, I'd be afraid if I pissed you off. And like I was in a dark street alley or so. Anyway, jokes aside, though, like what I mean. I'm comfortable with you guys and shit. So it's like, and I might get Punk Waddle again on in the future. If he's available. I think he probably. I'm not gonna like drag him every week. I'm sure he's got other things to do, but when he's available, yeah, like if I can get him like on a roughly monthly basis, that would be cool. And if I get you once in a while, that'd be cool too, but either way, if you need me or want me on your show at any point, I'm happy to join.
I'll definitely, I'd love to have you as a guest on Pop Talk.
Cool, I appreciate that. And like, I'm just kind of rolling with this, but like right now, just kind of like, I got the consistency thing down. I've been doing this on time every week at 10:45. I got to work on like getting an opening and an outro, and maybe doing a little bit more with like pre-show prep. Today I decided to go more freeform because I knew that that's something that I think you're experienced at doing, so I knew that that would work. But we'll keep rolling with it. And for everybody watching in the chat, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And if you have any feedback, positive or negative, questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. And for anybody watching on the replay, same thing. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. Please like and subscribe. Unless you dislike it, then hit the dislike button so I can see the statistical data. And thank you, Jason Fox. I'm glad you enjoyed today's stream. I want to give a shout out to Lady Mist, Pop Coach Mechanic, the Nerd Poor Real Life Form. I think we had more great faces here. We had QEPX here, my second mod ever. It's corny, but we had Zombie Box Reviews right there. The Padawannabe. Yeah, it works, So I had a great time with you. I mean, I just appreciate being able to do this, and I better get my ass to bed because last week I was on with Punk Water. I was telling him like the week before was the first time I overslept for work since I started this job like 3 years ago. It was like I'm in my bed, I wake up, I go, hey, it's really bright outside. I look at the time like, oh shit, it's 7:17. I was supposed to be at work 17 minutes ago. Call my manager. I'm like, hey John, I'm in my bed right now. I'm gonna hightail it there right away, but you know the deal. Rush hour. It's like I go in at 7 a.m. But if you go like to work, like if you leave my house at 7 a.m. now, you instead of taking like 30-40 minutes, you're gonna be looking at like 90 minutes. So that's what happened.
Depending on where you're living, on the morning rush hour traffic, you do have to plan ahead. Okay, I have to be up at this time and be out of the house by this time, and either on my bike, on the bus, in the car.
And that wasn't happening. Getting to work quickly wasn't happening at 7:17. So I usually wake up at 5, leave my house at 6, and leaving at 7. Like apparently, if I get on the road at 6, I'm good. But if I get on the road at 6:15, there's a high probability. Because I'm going from the Staten Island Verrazano Narrows Bridge. There's a high probability you will smack into traffic on that expressway. And before you know it, not even before you know it, right away, you're in a parking lot. You're in a slow-moving parking lot. So, anyway, so I'm sure I'll get a good night's sleep and wake up on time tomorrow. I will will myself to do that. And so with that being said, Mike, thanks for dropping in. For anybody who wants to check out Mike's channel, I put a link above for Pacific 414. You see we have like a chat window here where my arm is kind of getting cut off over here. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I guess I'm still getting oriented here. And so with that being said, I want to thank you for watching, and I really will end the stream. I'm having a lot of 4-star stops, like a snowed up stream on Saturday. But yeah, seriously, yeah, so please like and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. Thanks Pop Culture Mechanic and 540 Studios, Jason Fox, for enjoying the stream. And we will really now officially end transmission as soon as I find the button. And we're ending transmission on my mark. Oh, crap.